Hi, it's Kelly. I hope you had a good week. And this week we're here to talk about becoming your own best friend, the central theme of Yummy. Now, most of us think that we're okay. Most of us think that we are treating ourselves relatively well. And if we don't, then we don't actually notice because we don't check in with ourselves. So becoming your own best friend can often be the difference between success and the mundane. So the very first thing that we remember is to care about how you feel. Most of the time we think we're doing that. Most of the time we know when we're being hurt. Most of the time we know when we're laughing. Now, our vibration runs all the time. So we generally only see how we feel when something comes along pretty extreme in order to make us go, ooh, didn't like how that felt much. So start to care how you feel by being mindful of how you feel, checking in with yourself because you're worth it. You do it with your kids, you do it with a friend, you'd ring up your mum, you'd go, how you feeling, you okay? We do it with everybody else, do it with yourself. And checking in with yourself and caring how you feel has a huge need behind it. And that need is for you to decide how you want other people to treat you and show them. Show people how they will treat you by treating yourself the same way. You have a temple inside you, okay? And we'll talk about this a little bit more in a minute, but this temple inside you. And the doors of that temple should always be open to everybody until it's not. You're going to have your boundaries, and those boundaries build your self-esteem. And when somebody crosses that line, it's a difficult choice to make, but sometimes you have to shut the door to that person. You're showing them how to love you. If you don't take care of yourself, nobody else is going to feel like that they need to. If you're letting people walk all over you, then why should they not keep doing it? If people are walking all over you, I'm sorry, but it's your responsibility. It's not theirs. You know, and it's very, very difficult. Let them be responsible for how they treat you. There's a very, 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 very good saying, and I think it goes, other people's karma is how they treat you. Your karma is how you respond. So you always have a choice in how to respond to somebody. Don't raise your voice. People who are secure in what they believe don't need somebody else to agree with them. So why do you need to try and bring them round to your way of thinking? If somebody else has something they've got to say, you can be better, you can be curious, you can listen without feeling you need to change anything. So when we listen, we should listen to understand, not listen to have the cleverest answer in the room. You sit, you give them your time, you listen, you put your point across succinctly, and if there is something there in that argument, in their words that means something to you, then give them that and say, actually, you know what? I like that. That's a good thing. But don't raise your voice. And don't try and get somebody else to come round to your way of thinking, because that makes you look insecure in your belief. Even better than let it go, which makes it sound like you're holding on to something so tightly, you've got a block somewhere here and you're just holding on to it and you want to keep hold of it. Let it be. Even better, let it be. Now, when you read The Chimp Paradox, most people have read The Chimp Paradox. It's one of the books we talk about in Yummy. It's an awesome book and I can't recommend it enough. And a lot of people that I've suggested have gone, oh yeah, I get it. I kind of have this little thing on my shoulder and I decided to call him Jeff. And he's the little voice who's responsible for my emotional responses. Now, they're not always bad and they're not always great either. Jeff is the guy who's going, you know what, Kel, you need to eat all the biscuits. And I'm like, well, I don't want to eat all the biscuits, man, because, you know, I'm going to feel like crap afterwards. No, because look, if you eat all the biscuits, then they're not there anymore. And if they're not there, you can't eat them, can you? Okay, and it's an ever growing, it's that little inner voice that we call it, and mine is called Jeff. Now, Jeff will be the one, you could call it your ego if you like, Jeff will be the one that when you're upset, when you're hurt by something, he will demand retribution. He will want someone to pay with it, and they will be on it, and he will go on and get it. That is who wants some kind of retribution for somebody else's actions. Now, Jeff loves you. Nobody loves you. This person here, Jeff, nobody loves me any more than Jeff does. He just wants me from here to happy as quickly as he possibly can. But sometimes it comes back to checking in with yourself. So if there is a stimuli that comes towards you, somebody's upset you, somebody's pissed you off, somebody's done something, and you are in pain of some sort, let it be. How? Like this. Give yourself the gift of a second. Okay, give yourself a gift of 5 seconds. Do not go with your initial response. Your initial response, some point down the line, is going to have some kind of payment to it. If you can breathe that moment, there's a lot of good that could come out of that moment. And understand that with every stimulus, there is a choice. You might not like the choice, or Jeff might not like the choice, or it can be the hardest choice in the world, but you always have one. Give yourself the gift of understanding that you have one, and breathe and let it be. Breathe and let it be. When we're hurt, you have a choice of how to respond, as we said. Now, if your choice is to take revenge, to be spiteful, or to be violent once, what you'll find is this little thing on your shoulder will have instant gratification. But we all know that you're going to have to pay for that at some point down the line, possibly with your liberty, maybe with friends, maybe loss of friends, maybe loss of family. You don't know. Okay? The problem is that somewhere inside, even though you've had to pay this price, that strategy has worked for him. So every time a similar situation comes along, it's like, right, that's how I dealt with it last time. It worked last time, even if it was only for 5.2 seconds, and now I'm going to do it again. And your next response is spite, violence, and revenge. And as you go along, the stimulus doesn't even have to be very much related to the original one. You start to identify as someone who is spiteful, vengeful, and violent. And that becomes who you are. It's like the pain body effect. The pain body effect by Eckhart Tolle in The Power of Now. It'll sit there waiting for you to identify it. Give yourself a choice. Understand the choice. Think about how it's going to be in 2 months' time, even though you haven't been satisfied in that original moment. Now, this can be to do with food as well. It could be to do with drinking. It can be to do with anything. He's just trying to make you happy right now because he doesn't want you to be upset. You're not trying to sabotage yourself. You're just trying to be happy. But give yourself a moment. Breathe and understand that you always have a choice. If you have some sort of goal and there is some kind of work attached to that goal, do that first. Do that first. Do the thing in the day that you enjoy doing least. Do that first. Because most great things that come into your life come out of the things that you don't want to do. Clean house comes out of cleaning. That job comes out of studying. Self-esteem is built out of telling that one person, no, you're not going to do that to me anymore, and I'm done. Do the things that you don't want to do, get them out of the way first, and great things come out of that. Your temple, right in here, probably I always put it right in my solar plexus, it's where I feel everything. Your temple is built out of bricks of the things that you are frightened of, that you've done, that you didn't want to do, that you did, of the nice things you've done. Every single one of those bricks in that gorgeous temple build your self-esteem. Protect it, look after it, build it. Understand that if that temple's there, you're going to have to pull your shoulders back. You're going to have to lift yourself up. You're going to have to breathe really deeply and go, yes, I did. Yes, I did. I don't care what anyone else thinks. They haven't got to live my life. Yes, I did. Your temple that encourages other people, that is open to other people, is built on things that you didn't want to do in the first place, pretty much 99% of the time. the things that frightened you, the things that you overcame, the bad situations that you're still here for. The worst thing in the world to me has happened. I lost the most beautiful child in the world, but to me, what else have I got to be frightened of? I've got nothing else to fear. So build your temple and take responsibility for it. Never blame. Don't blame yourself for anything. Take responsibility for it. Blame is in the why. It's round and round. Why did this happen? Why did they do this to me? Blah, 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 blah. All of that, that's the why. It's the how that matters. How do I do this? How do I do this? How do I make this right for me now and in 6 months' time without any cost? When one door closes, another door opens. We know that. It's one of the oldest sayings in the book. But think about it really carefully. Sometimes it's not a double door. It's what Lisa Nichols, who's incredible, she was in The Secret, she says this: look at the situation, breathe it, just understand that sometimes the door you have to go through doesn't have room for two. But if you know what's on the other side of it is sunshine and what is best for you, you have to take the hard step, you have to make the hard choice and go through anyway. Say no. Being a victim and being a martyr, neither of these are a badge of honour. What they are is showing other people how to treat you. So if you're behaving like a victim and you're behaving like a martyr, it's an invitation to other people to do the same thing to you again and again and again. And if that's the case, that's not their fault. And just because you felt this, and if you have been this way and you felt this way before, that's all right, don't worry. So today you go, I'm not going to do it anymore. That's it. No. Say no. Your most precious commodity. I went and saw a speaker once called Andy Harrington, and I remember him saying, your most precious commodity, I'll try to say commodity, hang on a minute. Your most precious commodity, got it that time, not trying it again, is your time. Your time. If you're continually saying yes and then getting the ump because you feel like everyone's taking the mickey, say no. And don't justify it. Just no. Following on from saying no, we're often worried about judgment, about how other people will look at you if you say no. Well, as you know, I'm a PT. And there is the best exercise that I must give my guys over and over again. And it's the best exercise in the world, and it's great for the shoulders, and it's one that you should do 50 times a day if you feel it's necessary. It's the shrug. I have great shoulders. I love my shoulders because I spend most of my time doing this. Judgment is useless. Pain is relative to the person, not to the population. No one knows how you feel. The fact is that you feel it. You don't have to explain yourself. No one walks in your shoes. Judgment is useless because no one knows what you did when you got up this morning and what came into your brain that affected your mind at that nanosecond. How could they? It's impossible. Judgment is useless. So you do the shrug. Judgment, 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 gossip, gossip, gossip. I can't stand gossip, 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 gossip. And what do? Big thing. That's why the shrug's so good. Gives you a chance to breathe. Breathe in. Gives yourself a moment. Gives yourself a chance to make a choice. Gives yourself the option to let it be. The best thing you can do to start being your best friend is to find things that you're grateful for. Now, we do this on a weekly basis at Yummy. We sit down, we talk about, what you found that week to be grateful for. And I hear a lot of this. It's like, well, I feel really daft because all I was grateful for was my cup of tea. Do you know what? If you can be grateful for a cup of tea, that's bloody brilliant. It's really easy to be really grateful for winning the lottery. Really, 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 really easy. I mean, that's easy stuff to be. When you can be grateful for a cup of tea, I mean, come on, you're expert at this crap. That's awesome. That's absolutely brilliant. Doesn't matter what the 5 things are that you write down that you're grateful for. Anything. Find things to be grateful for every single day. And a lot of people, when they get to this point, they'll go, right, okay, everyone says that. There's got to be something else. Got to be something else. I try to be, everyone keeps talking about being grateful and blah, 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 blah. The reason everybody talks about it is because it works. That's why. This is how the universe works. When you're grateful, or even better, when you're appreciative, your vibration lifts and you get more things come towards you that you're grateful for. The universe isn't suddenly going to decide it's going to change the way it works just because you don't believe in the way that it works, or just because it's difficult to do. Be grateful. Write it down. Everyone talks about it because it works. When I ask people what they want, the most common answer I get is, I want to be happy. Absolutely. I can't do anything with that. You can't do anything with that. So you need to know what happiness looks like to you, because thankfully it's going to be different for everybody, and then work out the first steps to it. Now I want to talk about vision boards in another video, but sort of we did something slightly different, which was a happiness circle. So I wrote happy and a circle around it and put 4 prongs coming out of it. And then what I did was I wrote down 4 things that I thought would make me happy. And coming off of those 4 things, I wrote how they made me feel, what they'd look like, and who would be with me. Now there's a lot more you can do to that. You can do what it smells like. In some of the meditations that I've done, there's what it smells like, there's like what you're touching, there's a lot. But if you start with those, you become really, really precise about what it is will make you happy. And it's it's much easier to go looking for something that makes you happy when you know what it is. And then you focus on that one thing. So you've got 4 things there that you think would make you happy. Trying to do 4 things at a time, it's too much, it's overwhelming. When I was a kid and my bedroom was always a massive mess, and teenagers will always feel this. They will let it get to a point where it's overwhelming and they do nothing. It's like, if I sit here and I close my eyeballs, it will disappear. Of course it doesn't, but that's kind of how we work. It's like, head in the sand, that's it, that's fine, that's okay. We don't have to worry about that. But if you can be precise about what it is that you want. Now under the link down, there's going to be a link down at the video for another video, which is my vision board meditation. So that is working on your vision board, figuring out one thing to focus on, and that's a really good thing to do. Figuring out one thing that you want and focus and immerse yourself in that one thing. So that's how you start. And it doesn't matter where you are right now, okay? It really, really doesn't matter. So I can guarantee you there's someone out there feeling the same way. And we're all looking, just quite honestly, for something to smile about. So be your own best friend and take charge of that. Make that your work and find something to smile about.